Hey friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, the well-rounded nerd who just recorded the video she's about to do, and it wasn't recording. And my dog is under my desk right now because it is thunderstorming and it's not his favorite thing. I was going to head out and run a couple of errands, but it started storming and he would rather be with me. So, him, get your shit here, and I have to sit in a weird position because doggo needs the lovin'. He's a good boy. He's a good Sammy. He just a pookum. He just a poor doggy. You just a poor boy. Yes. So, you see me pet the dog. Got to. Him come first. And if you don't talk to your animal in baby talk, why are you even here? Um, I don't trust you. Joking. But we're going to continue reading again from. I wonder how I ended up accidentally not recording. I'll figure that out later. But we're going back into Siege of Terra. I'm not going to read the entire novel online. Please, G Dubs, don't come for me. I am but your humble servant, a very small speck in your grand imperium. I simply want to bring others into the fold of the Emperor's light. But I would never read the whole book. If something's in open domain, it's no problem to read the whole thing. But if it's not in open domain, you can do dramatic snips. It's kind of like I think with the videos, which I still haven't figured out how to use clips and not get, you know, algorithm smacked for it. But this format seems to work. I've done it before where you're going to watch me do some of my work and I'm going to read. In this particular video, this is basing of my most recent cacophony. They are Forge World models, so they're resin, not plastic. Makes them a little bit sturdier, but putting them together, because I got to use like actual super glue and I used accelerator, yeah, it makes it a little bit more annoying in that aspect, but they are way sturdier. So when they hit the floor, they usually don't break. So I appreciate that. I completely airbrushed them as far as their paint jobs go. But now I'm going to base them in a snow effect. I used the same basing when I did my blueberries. I did some chaos blueberries. I said what I said. Um, and those particular blueberries, they have the same kind of snow effect, but they're in bloody snow because they, there's that shiny blue, double D, double die, and the blood on the snow just chef's kiss. It was gorgeous. But I'm going to do a little bit of reading. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I would love to say this is a cold reading, but I literally just read the whole chapter I was going to read and realized it wasn't recording. So I'm not going to tell that fib. This is a second reading. Let's see if I do better this time because I made some mistakes in the first one. So look at this redemption arc. Why delay, shall we? That's why we're here. Doo-doo-doo. Watch me work. Watch me nay nay. Reading voice. The Horus Heresy. Siege of Terra. The end and death. Volume 1. By Dan Abnett. You know a theater kid when you meet one. On chapter 1, I. Sympathetic magic. When he was very young, no more than 200 or 300 years old, he watched a man paint shapes upon a wall. The painter used his fingers as brushes and the skull cups of animals as his pots. He painted antelope and bison, side on, mid leap. A startled deer broke out and ran across the wall. The painter drew men, too. They had bows and spears. He had never seen anyone paint a man before. He was very young. It was not art or decoration. It wasn't a memorial of the hunt they had conducted the day before. It wasn't a record of something that had been. That would have been a waste of valuable pigments. They had their memories for that. Watching intently, he understood the painter was painting tomorrow. It was a statement of intention of what would be. The painter was making a plan and executing it. He was imposing his will. This, the painter was showing them, the antelope, the bison, the men. This will be. The animals will break and run like so. We will be here. These are the bows and the spears we will carry. This, as his fingers moved across the spear to the antelope. This will be the path the spear will follow. This is where it will strike. This flank here. This will be our kill. Watching, he understood that this was sympathetic magic, a ritual rehearsal to vouchsafe that once imagined would later come to pass. What was set out here on the wall in pigment would happen in life tomorrow. The antelope would not evade and get away, for here, see, that was struck already and dead. This man was modeling the future. To sanctify this, to commit this specific configuration of tomorrow, the painter dipped his hand into a pot and pressed it palm flat against the wall. He left his mark, the mark of himself on his plan. This is what will happen, and with my hand I signify it. It cannot be undone. The antelope is already dead. For this version of tomorrow to fail, the gods would need to turn against mankind and undo the laws of the world, laws which they had promised could not be undone. By then, even so young, he had already learned to distrust gods, to distrust even the existence of gods. But the natural laws of the world seemed to operate, whether there were gods or not. He watched the man paint, and he learned the plan in every sense. A revelation. He learned that a plan might secure the future, and it might be the work of one man, and to be certain of its success, it had to proudly bear the mark of his hand. His handprints have been on his work ever since. He has been modeling the future for over 30 millennia. He told me that story of himself years ago. I look at his hands now, hands that have since held the galaxy in their palms. I observe the fingers twitching slightly. Very few people are permitted to stand this close to him. Few indeed are even admitted into his presence, much less allowed to approach so near that they are able to notice such subtle signs of human suffering. But I am his regent, his advisor, his confidant. I am supposed to stay close to him. It is what he requires of me, so I have been as near to him as his shadow for a very long time. And those hands, those great, capable hands, they are sheathed in aramite, not because it's golden and regal, but because it is almost quantum inert, and thus most efficacious for psionic sculpting and the manipulation of immaterial forces. And bare skin would be better, more precise and conductive. I know he has touched the immaterium with bare hands and bare mind many times, but even he has limits. The saturation of immaterial power now stands at such a level that direct contact would scald his flesh if he but brushed against it. Long exposure would sear the meat off him, boil his blood, and fuse him to the seat he occupies. So there he sits, armored and warded in gold, silent and still, like some graven idol. No, worse. I fear he resembles the gaudy chieftain kings and prophet monarchs of the past. The petty upstarts and megalomaniac bullies who carved dominions out of the carcass of humanity, built frivolous nations, and capriced themselves in jewels and precious metals, and set crowns upon their heads and declared themselves more than mortal. And they were not. And he scorned them all, chastised them for their hubris, and had cast them down by actions direct or indirect. He had dismantled nations and ended dynasties, usurped tyrants and dictators, razed palaces, and cauterized bloodlines. He has painted the walls of innumerable throne rooms with his blood and left thrones empty. He cannot leave this one. I wait forever in silence at the foot of this great dais. There is no one else close enough to heed what I notice, except for Uzarkel Ophite and Calcuta's Dusk, the exquisite ogres who stand watch either side of the steps. But the Legio Custodes, Proconsulus, face outward, immobile as sculpture, their backs towards him. They do not see what I see. They do not see his fingers tremble. And the subtle signs, be they traces of suffering or otherwise, are my art. Signs, symbols, signifiers, sigils. And these are my instruments, the diacritical marks of reality through which I discern the next true text of the world. I am his sigillite, and I have fulfilled that role since this age began. It is now about to end, both my long service to him and this very age itself, because his sons are coming to kill him. Ain't nobody told you to write that hard, Dana Abnett. Nobody said to write that hard. Nobody. I didn't. You know what? I appreciate an artist of any kind that goes all in on their art. And that is what I call going all in on the art. I'm kind of reading these aloud, not all of it. I'm not going to ever read the whole book. I'm not trying to get in trouble. Because it's motivating me to stay reading. Because I'll be honest, she'd been in denial about the end of the Horus Heresy for a long time. Because I grew up with it, you know. I've been reading these books for such a long time, even the boring ones, you know. I like 40K lore as well. It was 40K that got me into the Warhammer universe to begin with, but then I became all obsessed with the Horus Heresy for some reason. Um, like, I was so in denial about the Siege of Terra actually being published and not just theories on, you know, the Warhammer wiki that I just avoided. I bought the book when it came out, didn't crack it, could not be bothered, jumped ahead to 40K again. We are Minka Lesking, and I've got all of her books that have been published. Robute's coming back. Bute's back. He's back. Anyhow, um, and then, you know, chasing Fabius Bile across the universe. But all good things come to an end. You know, stories have to have conclusions. Otherwise, they're not precious. Now, the story can be long. Looking at you, Lord of the Rings. Stories can be long. They can extend across, you know, centuries. But at some point, for the story to remain special, it does have to have a conclusion. So as I get to interesting points, I will do some reading. I might do some more cold reading or semi-cold reading in this case, because I really do love the lore and looking at the lore with all of you. Just talking about a little bit of what I'm doing here in this video. These are getting based in snow, like I said before. These are 3 AK mediums, not sponsored, but it is the clear water. And then on top of that, I put like the buildup snow and then ice crystals because I wanted it to look like they were walking through specifically wet snow. in this case. And I think I did a pretty good job. Like I said earlier, I did my Chaos Blueberries the same, but their snow's a little bloody. And it just, that bright blue and the Turbo Dork, dabu dee dabu die, with the bright snow and then the blood, it's just, oh, it's a beautiful contrast. I think basing has become one of my favorite parts of model building because it's a different kind of creativity. Sometimes I use art supplies, sometimes I use pre-done basing materials, sometimes I go out in my yard and collect stuff. Just depends on what I'm trying to accomplish, but it's so much fun, and I hope you get some ideas from watching me work. And I appreciate that we have such a great community. One thing I need to start doing more of is advertising the Discord. So always please like, comment, and subscribe. But if you would like, please, please, please. Oh, I was doing that at 9 o'clock at night. My goodness, what's wrong with me? But but please, 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 if you would, go over to the Discord, the Ebony Otaku. I am the same on all social media. Some of y'all have found my government name. Good for you. It's not a secret. It's just that on YouTube, I'm the Ebony Otaku. But I would love to connect with you. We have a really great community we've built here. And I don't say it enough, and I got to say it more. Thank you all for being just an amazing group. There's very little negativity that's ever been presented on my channel, and the little bit that has showed up, ball it up, throw it away, never happened. We choose joy in our hobbies on this channel. So until the next time when I do some more reading, please like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know if you like this format. And I'll see you in the next one.